Leyva, Leyva. And I'm a singer, rapper. My father came on the Mariel from Cuba. He was a criminal. So Fidel got rid of all the criminals and the gays and sent them on the Mariel in the 80s, and that's how he came over here. My mother crossed the border to have better opportunities because she had a child already in Nicaragua, and she left my older sister behind to come and try to find a better future. And now my sister that she left behind is over here and is very successful. She's a journalist. So I believe my mom accomplished her goals. She also studied cosmetology, and she did everything that she wanted to do. It was very hard. I mean, crossing the border is a horrible experience. She told me about many horrible things that happened when she was crossing the border. People getting raped, robbed, the little bit of money that they brought with them taken away from them, beaten up. It's a horrible experience to cross the border, and she was willing to take that chance of something bad happening to her just for the opportunity. Growing up Cuban Nicaraguan mixed, I think the best part of it is the food, because I love to eat. And I love queso frito from Nicaragua, so that was my favorite. I did love living in Nicaragua because I just felt that I was free to climb the trees, run around barefoot. I actually used to sell cheese. I used to walk around the town selling cheese. My grandmother used to make the cheese. It's called cuajada, it's a type of cheese. And my little sister and I used to walk around the whole town selling it. That was fun. When we moved to Miami, it was kind of different because they were like, are you Cuban? Are you Nicaraguan? And I was both, so. But it was fun because you get to learn a lot from both cultures. Well, my first language was Spanish, so I did have to learn English. I had to go through the ESOL program to learn the English language. And it was pretty tough at first because I remember when I was in school, I was in a special school where they teach you both languages, but I only knew how to speak Spanish. And they told us, no more speaking Spanish in this class, only English. And I was like, oh no, that was a struggle. Showering was fun because it wakes you up. There was no hot water where we lived, so it was a mission. You just have to pretty much build up the courage to jump in that cold water. So we went to school, came home, sat outside and watched people walk by and pretended to speak for them. So those were the games that we played. We used to also make toys out of the vegetables, put little sticks on them to make arms, turn them into baby dolls. We used to make clothes for the squash, and those were our babies. Even when I joined the military, I experienced a lot of people that didn't know anything about other cultures, that were they're from states that don't have a diversity, and they've only seen one color of person or just one culture pretty much their whole life, and they were shocked. They were culture shocked. But I think that's one of the things that is a benefit from being Latino in the United States, is that you appreciate and understand other cultures. You're not closed-minded. It's got to be really tough. I actually lived in Mississippi for some time when I was growing up, and you were either white, black, or Mexican. So they separated you in those three categories, and they put me in the black category. Yeah, so it was like everybody treats each other very different than what I grew up in, mostly here in Miami. Mm-hmm. And I also lived in Nicaragua for some time, so it's definitely difficult in other states where it's not that diverse. Well, moving around so much, that was a challenge because I wish that I could have done track, but since we were always moving from school to school, I never really got the chance to settle in one place, and I was always a new girl, so that really sucked. But at the same time, it made me who I am, because since I was a loner, I used to write a lot, poetry, essays, and I actually used to do other people's homework. Like, I would offer to do their homework. I'd be like, hey, you have an essay to write? I'll do it, because I love to write. So that was pretty nice. I got to develop my writing abilities thanks to that. So everything, it's all good in the end, because everything happens for a reason. Being an American is following the laws of this country, and doing the best that I can to improve the conditions that we all live in, helping other people and helping improve myself to help other people. What motivates me is that we have so many freedoms in this country that other people don't have, and we take those for granted all the time, and I think it's our duty to serve at least 2 years. You know, everybody should do time in the military, not just to serve this country, but also to learn discipline, like self-discipline, and I think that's really important for any person. The extremes of all the things that I do, like, okay, so I'm in the military, I'm a mechanic, because I've always liked airplanes. I actually took some flight lessons also. I'm gonna get my pilot's license, that's one of my goals. Pretty much everything that I wanted to do, I've tried my best to accomplish those things. So I wanted to be in the military, I joined. I wanted to know more about aircraft, I became an aircraft mechanic. I want to be a pilot, I started taking flight lessons. I love music and I love writing, so I've written pretty much my whole life. Since I was a little girl, the first song I wrote was about my dog dying. It's like I always found inspiration in something to write. Any time that I was going through troubles, I would just write. So, and I've been pursuing my career in music, and it's very different from everything else that I do. I also throw bags for American Airlines. I load the aircraft. Yeah, so it's like everything that you want to do, you do it. I believe that everyone should follow their heart, and if somebody, and obviously the situation has changed in the United States from what it was when my mother decided to cross the border and start from scratch in this country. I think if someone's dream is to come to the United States and try something new out, then they should do it. Because if not, they'd live with the doubt of, what if I would have crossed and started over? You know, what could have been of my life? Could it have been better? You'll never know unless you try. So I'd give the advice that just follow your heart. If your heart is in starting over somewhere else, then do it.
You're doomed to being cute forever.
Oh gosh, the other day I went to a club called Mansion, and there was this guy. The guy, I'm pretty sure he was white or something.
Not racist or anything, but I'm pretty sure he was white.
That's what he was doing the whole time. In the corner. And every time I looked, I was like, I can't look, I don't want to look anymore. And he was just like, and he thought it was cute. I don't know what he thought, but it was funny.
I'm in the ocean.
So we wanted to make a dance that the white people enjoyed. My new single is actually called White Boy Dance. And the song, actually, it was funny how it happened. The producer that produced the song, he was waiting for me to get to the studio. We were going to work on another song. And he just made this beat. And when I got to the studio, he was like, oh, I made this beat while I was waiting for you. And I was like, all right, let's hear it. So then he played it, and I was like, oh, forget what we were going to record. I was like, we're going to record, a song with this beat. I was like, what should we write about? And then one of my team members, William, he's a very funny white guy. He started doing this dance that white people do, I guess. That's another benefit of being Latinos. We have a lot of rhythm. But he was doing this dance, and I was like, please don't do that. Just stop. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write about how white people can't dance. Let's make a dance for them, because, you have everybody else has dances, merengue, you have the dougie, you have different types, bachata, salsa, but white people, they don't have anything other than the line dancing and two-stepping. So I was like, let's do something that they can play in the clubs, and everybody's going to want to do it. So that's how White Boy Dance came about. It actually has a dance to it. It's very funny. They can contact me on Facebook, facebook.com/Leyva Christy. Leyva, Leyva, Christy is Christy. They can like my fan page, Leyva Musica, on Facebook. Also on soundcloud.com/Leyva Musica. They can find some of the remixes I've done. Twitter and Instagram at Leyva Official.
Now I wanna do a toe. I don't know how, but teach me how to do it, don't. It's